She gave water to a beggar on the street. One simple act of kindness. But that old man wasn't who she thought he was. And what he was about to do would change her life forever. This is a story about love, deception, and a test nobody saw coming. In the heart of Atlanta, an old man named Robert sat on a hot sidewalk, dressed in torn clothes, covered in dust. To everyone walking by, he looked homeless, desperate, invisible. But Robert wasn't poor. He was one of the richest men in Georgia. He sat there every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 weeks, watching people pass him by. Some looked away. Some dropped coins. Most just kept walking. Robert wasn't there for money. He was searching for someone special. Someone real. Someone worthy of his son. His son, Marcus, was 35 years old. Successful. Cold. Alone. Marcus had given up on love after his mother left when he was just a boy. Now Marcus treated relationships like business deals, always keeping his heart locked away. Robert had failed as a husband, and he knew it. But he wouldn't let his son die alone and bitter. He needed to find Marcus a woman who was truly kind. Not someone chasing money or fame. Someone who would show compassion to a stranger with nothing to offer. That's when she walked by. Jasmine, 28 years old, carrying a heavy bag, walking with purpose down the street. When she saw Robert, she didn't look away. She stopped. "Sir, are you okay?" she asked. "You look really hot." "I'm so thirsty," Robert said weakly. "Haven't eaten in days." Jasmine didn't hesitate. She pulled out cold water and food from her bag and handed it to him. Robert drank desperately, water dripping down his chin. "Thank you," he said, tears filling his eyes. "God bless you." She smiled. "I'm Jasmine. I come by here every Tuesday and Thursday. If you need anything, just let me know." She walked away. But Robert's mind was racing. This was it. This was the woman his son needed to meet. Robert hired an investigator and learned everything about Jasmine. She grew up poor. Her father died when she was 16. Her mother worked 2 jobs just to survive. Jasmine went to college while working full-time. Now she worked at a homeless shelter, making barely enough to pay rent. And every week, she spent her own money buying food and water for homeless people on the streets, even when she could barely afford to feed herself. Robert smiled. She was perfect. Kind. Selfless. Real. But there was a problem. How could he introduce her to Marcus without his son getting suspicious? Marcus would never trust anyone Robert tried to set him up with. Then Robert had an idea. A week later, Jasmine got a strange phone call. A job recruiter. They wanted to hire her as a household manager for a wealthy family. The pay? 3 times her current salary. Housing included. Full benefits. Jasmine was shocked. "Why me?" "The family is very private," the recruiter said. "They want someone with strong character. Someone who cares about people." Jasmine hesitated. It sounded too good to be true. But she was struggling to pay rent, struggling to help her mother, struggling to survive. She accepted. When she arrived at the mansion on Monday morning, her jaw dropped. The house was enormous. beautiful, expensive. A man walked out to meet her. Young, handsome, cold eyes. "I'm Marcus," he said flatly. "You're my new housekeeper." Jasmine extended her hand. "I'm Jasmine. Nice to meet you." He barely shook it. For weeks, Jasmine worked in Marcus's home. She cleaned, she cooked, she organized. But more than that, she tried to be kind. She left him encouraging notes. She cooked his favorite meals. She asked him how his day was. Marcus barely noticed her. He was too busy with work, too closed off to care. But slowly, something started to change. One night, Marcus came home exhausted and found Jasmine in the kitchen making soup. "Long day?" she asked. "Always," he muttered. She placed a bowl in front of him. "My mom used to make this when I was sad. It helps." Marcus looked at the soup, then at her. For the first time, he really saw her. They started talking more. She told him about her father, her struggles, her dreams. He started sharing too, about his mother leaving, about his fear of getting hurt, about feeling alone. One evening, Marcus found her crying in the living room. "What's wrong?" he asked, sitting beside her. "It's my mom," she said. "She's sick, and I can't afford the medical bills." Without thinking, Marcus pulled out his phone. "I'll take care of it." "Marcus, I can't." "You've taken care of me," he said quietly. "Let me take care of you." Tears filled Jasmine's eyes. And for the first time in 25 years, Marcus let himself care about someone. Months later, Marcus brought Jasmine to his father's house for dinner. Robert sat at the table, smiling. Jasmine stared at him. Then her eyes went wide. "Charles," she whispered. Robert's smile grew. "My real name is Robert. And I've been waiting to thank you properly for that bottle of water you gave me." Marcus looked confused. "Wait. You two know each other?" Jasmine's hands shook. "Your father, he was the homeless man I helped on Peachtree Street." Marcus turned to his father, anger flashing in his eyes. "You set this up?" "I did," Robert said calmly. "Because you needed someone real. Someone who didn't want your money or your name. Someone who would choose kindness even when no one was watching." Marcus stood up, furious. But then he looked at Jasmine. At her tears. At her trembling hands. At the woman who had changed his entire life. He sat back down. "I should be angry," Marcus said slowly. "But I'm not." He took Jasmine's hand. "Because you were right, Dad. She's exactly who I needed." Sometimes the greatest love stories don't begin with fate. They begin with a test. A test to see who we really are when no one important is watching. And Jasmine passed. Not because she wanted something in return, but because kindness was simply who she was.